United Nations is warning that humans are rapidly destroying the natural world. In the largest study of its kind, a UN panel of experts has found that 1 million animal and plant species face extinction in the next few decades, with 40% of amphibians under threat and a third of marine mammals. The UN experts say nature's declining at an alarming speed. They blame the relentless pursuit of economic growth. Our science correspondent Rebecca Morell reports.
From the oceans to the land, from insects to exotic plants, life on Earth is declining at its fastest rate in millions of years. This is the stark conclusion of a major new UN report, which warns the planet is facing an ecological crisis.
If life on Earth is in trouble, we are on trouble. Our future is at stake. There's really no human future without a future for the fabric of life that sustains us.
The report details the destructive impact that humans are having on the environment. 75% of all the land on Earth has been severely altered by humans. 85% of wetlands have disappeared since the 18th century. They're now vanishing at a faster rate than forests. And plastic pollution has increased tenfold since the 1980s. The backdrop to this is that human population has doubled in the last 50 years, adding growing pressure to the natural world. And take a look at the bigger picture. Everything in nature plays a role, even the smallest creatures, like the narrow-headed ant in Devon. The insects keep the soil healthy, they break down organic matter, and they're also food themselves for birds and small mammals. But they're now on the brink of extinction. These tiny ants are the last of their kind. They used to be widespread, but this small patch of heathland is the only site left in England. All around them, their habitat has been destroyed, and it would just take for this last refuge to go, and this species would be lost forever. The UN says there are solutions, but we'll need a major rethink of how we use land, especially for agriculture. Deforestation will also have to end so the forests can grow again, and the pollution making our oceans uninhabitable cleaned up. But the report says our insatiable use of the planet's resources needs to stop now.
We shouldn't waste our food. We should conserve our energy. We should conserve our water. So all of us, from the individual to the government and the private sector, we all have a role to play. And it's doable. We're not asking people to drastically change their lifestyle, but be more careful.
The window of opportunity for nature's global rescue plan is small. The UN says if we fail to act, many species will be left fighting for survival. Rebecca Morell, BBC News, Paris.
Well, our science editor David Shukman's here with me now. David, some really frightening conclusions in this UN report.
Yes, we've had plenty of warnings before about the natural world, but never in this striking language and never on this scale. What the scientists are trying to do is catch the attention of governments, to say that on top of climate change and plastic pollution in the oceans, there's this other problem of massive losses happening right now in biodiversity. Now, the report isn't about saving individual species like elephants and rhinos, important though they are. It's about trying to safeguard entire ecosystems that human activity depends on. So, for example, bees pollinating crops, or rainforests that generate huge supplies of water for millions of people downstream. Now, the challenge is that most governments focus on economic development, and actually they've been talking about biodiversity at the UN for nearly 30 years and have been setting targets, but they've missed most of them, and we'll have to see this time if anything's different.
All right, David, thank you very much indeed. David Shukman.